Hello dear student, how are you all? I think everyone are fine there. So student, today we will begin with the part number 4 and the name of the lesson is, the lesson number 3 and the name of the lesson Glimpses of the Past, which is taken from our freedom movement, which is written by S.B. Sawant. So student, this is what we were learning from the last 2 or 3 days about the glimpses of the past, and this book is a book number 1, and here we are going to discuss the part 4, and here we have written out the glossary portion, what is coming there in the lesson. So these all topics are there in the lesson, and the name of the lesson is Glimpses of the Past. See, here you are going to find the first one, the martyrs, second the company's conquest, third one is the British rule, and the fourth one is Ram Mohan Roy, and the fifth one is oppression, and the sixth one is dissatisfaction, and the seventh one is the sparks, and the eighth one is revolt, and the ninth one is the fight for freedom. So student, in the previous classes what we have did, we did the martyrs, we completed the company's conquest, we completed the British rule and the Ram Mohan Roy. So student, in the yesterday's part you have aware about the British rule and the Ram Mohan Roy. So let's recall our previous video, what we have learned. In the previous video, we have discussed about a great freedom fighter, Ram Mohan Roy, and he is from Bengal. He is educated person. So he went to the British and he studied about the British rule, and in the British Assembly, he spoke in front of them. We are ready to accept you as a ruler. We are ready to accept you as a leader of our people, but you should take care of your subordinates. You should take care of the common people, their culture, their heritage, their tradition of the India. You are telling to our peoples to give up their culture, to give up their tradition, to give up their religion also. How it could be possible? Here the question has been arised by Ram Mohan Roy in the assembly hall. Though you have to give up our culture, we should follow our culture. If you implement your own culture, that wearing pant, wearing coat, okay, following the English way of tradition, custom, rituals, then how could it will be possible? Because our ancestors are too different from your ancestors. Our culture, heritage and tradition is too different from yours. So we will perform our duties, we will perform our culture. Please don't interfere in our culture. Though we are accepting you as a leader, we will work for you, but don't do anything or don't underestimate our culture, because our culture is the superior one, oldest of the older. So you have to take care. So this is what here Ram Mohan Roy, an educated person, went there in the British in England, and in the assembly hall he told to each and everyone. So student, this is what we have learned in the previous video. So let's begin in this video what we are going to do. In this video we are going to discuss about oppression and dissatisfaction. What do you mean by oppression and dissatisfaction? If possible, we will take the sparks also. Oppression means a fight, a clashes taken place in between the Britishers and in between the Indian peoples. So what was that fight? What was that clashes? We will discuss here. Then we will learn about the dissatisfaction. So student, what do you mean by dissatisfaction? If you have learned the lesson thoroughly, it seems that I am satisfied by the lesson. If lesson is learned by you and you could easily write it there in the first periodic test, then it seems you are satisfied with the lesson and you are going to write it. If there is any dissatisfaction, no, I don't know the lesson, I have not read it properly, then how could I will write there in the exam? So this kind of doubts will be there in your mind, yes or no. So it is called here dissatisfaction. So dissatisfaction taken place in between the common people of our Indian subcontinent. So they were not satisfied with the British rule. They want to step against the British rule, and the British were turning all the stones, and they were humiliating our common people of our India, of our Bharat. So student, let's begin with these two topics in a brief discussion. So before beginning, I would like to say you that please open your textbook if you have, otherwise the PDF which I have sent you there in the WhatsApp group, please open it and come there on the page number 40. Yes, on the page number 40 you will get the topic operation. Yes, in the page number 40 you will find these kind of pictures. So these are all the pictures where the characters are sharing their ideas about the British rule. See, these pictures you will get here. Fine. Operation. It was an era of 1765 and 1835. So which is this era? It is 1765 and 1835. So in this era the operation taken place. But the British continued to oppress Indians. In 1818 they had passed Regulation 3rd. Under it an Indian could be jailed without trial in a court. Then what happened? Some of the common people, some of the farmers are against the British. Why you have taken our lands? Why you have kept this kind of taxes over them? It is not a right thing. Then what they did, Britishers, they bought one act. Do you know act? It is a law. They bought one law or an act which is called Regulation Act 3rd. Under this act, they can go to the home of any farmer, any peasant, they can hold them and they can keep them in the jail, and the court can't interfere in this act. They can't do anything if the person is kept there in the jail. Even the trial will not take place. Why this person is there in the jail? So what wrong thing he did? So no one can decide about the faith of that farmer, about the faith of that peasant who is kept inside the jail. And which was that act? Act is Regulation Act 3rd. Okay, so it is a very oppressive. Oppression means a pressure was kept by the Britishers on the common people. The second picture. All the time, British officers in India drew big salaries and also made fortunes in private businesses. So the British the British officers who were deployed here in India, they were earning too much of money. They were earning too much of money by using our own resources. Okay, they were cutting down the trees. They were doing the mining activities. They were doing coal mining. They were taking out the petroleum from our India, and they were taking the charge of the crop which were grown by the farmers. So they became richer of the richest. Who? Britishers, day by day, and they are doing all kind of discrimination, and they are producing the hatred over Indian peoples. Then comes another picture. By 1829, Britain was exporting British goods worth 7 crore rupees to India. So what happened? And it was a era of 1829, somewhere in between 1765 and 1835 of the operation. So in 1829, the raw material which is taken from the India and it was sent to the England. From England they are making the goods, they are making the products, they are making the materials, some toys, some cloth, daily usable material like toothbrush, okay, toothpaste, shoes, chappals, dresses, whatever used by the human beings, they were bringing back to the India and they were selling it in such a huge amount, and the amount is 7 crore rupees. It was totally very huge during that time, and the currency value was too less. That's why the 7 crore rupees is such a huge amount during that time. Then what happened? So Britishers were using our materials and they were selling back to us in such a big amount. Then what happened? There came a Governor General. Who? Governor General. Governor General Bentinck reported back home. Okay, the bones of cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. So what happened? So there was a Governor General Bentinck. So Governor General was in charge of the East India Company, the company which was deployed here in India. So the whole in charge goes to the Governor General. In today's scenario, Governor General equals to President of the India. So who was the President of the India during that time? Governor General Bentinck. So all the laws, okay, what were going there in the India were implemented by the Governor Generals. So he went back to the England. Then what he is thinking? The bones of the Indian peoples were planning our Indian, were planning the India's land. So the Indian peoples were suffering a lot, and it was watched by Governor General Bentinck. Now the British prospered on the company's loot while India's industry began to die. Then what happened? The Britishers, big officers, they were eating too much of money. They were not sending to the England. They were keeping there in their own pocket. They were taking the huge production. And the Ram Mohan Roy, who went there and complained about the situation, then everyone got knew about this, what was going there in the India. Then what happened? Britishers were become the richest of the richest, and the poor peoples were becoming poor of the poorest. Who? Handlooms workers, who handicraft workers, they are becoming the poorest of the poor because their work shouldn't given any value. The work which belongs to the British have given more value. Okay, their products came here in Indian market and they taken the place of our Indian materials or Indian market. So everyone are purchasing England's good rather than the good or the thing which is made by the handicrafts and the handloom workers. Okay, so this is what came here in the operation. In the operation, what you have learned? In this you have learned that Britishers were putting a pressure on Indian peasant, on Indian farmers. They were taking their land, they were using their resources, they were taking the raw materials and sending back to the England. From England, goods are coming, they were selling in such a huge amount. Here farmers were not benefited at all. They were beaten, they were tortured, they were discriminated, and their land was snatched by the Britishers, and these Britishers were filling their pocket. They were not sending the money to the England. So this all things happened here. Then came the Governor General Bentinck, and he examined each and everything thoroughly, and he went back to the England for what purpose? This is what we are going to read here. Now comes the sixth topic. Which one? Operation we have completed. Now comes the sixth one. It is dissatisfaction. What it is? Dissatisfaction. Here, dissatisfaction, and the era is 1835 to 56. Okay, which era? 1835 to 1856. So it is the era of 1835 to 1856. Education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit. So education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit. In 1835, an Englishman named Macaulay suggested a change. So earlier, our Indian kids, our Indian students of your age, they were used to be taught in Persian and Sanskrit language. Then what British did? What they did in 1835, in between 1835 and 1856, in 1835, Englishman named Macaulay suggested a change. So Macaulay was a person, and what he did, he wanted to change the education system of India. Then here a person speaks to the Macaulay. We should teach the natives through the English language. Who? A teacher of East India Company. He was like me, a teacher, and his name is not given here in the picture. See, this is what? This is a picture. A teacher is telling to the Macaulay, a person who is responsible for the education in India. We should teach the Indian peoples in English rather than in Persian and rather than in Sanskrit. So the person was sitting here. Yes, I agree with this. You are a right person. If we teach them in English, they will work more sincerely for us. Now these people are planning. Who? Britishers. Now the second picture. English education produced clerks to whom the British gave petty jobs under them. Incidentally, it also produced a new generation of intellectuals. Then what happened? Throughout the India, in the school system of India, they implemented the English language. Then the clerks who were there, who were working for the Britishers, they are called clerks. They know the English perfectly and they know the Hindi and Persian also. So they can translate, okay, Persian and the Sanskrit into English and from English to Persian and Sanskrit. Okay, so they are a well translator, they are the well clerks, so they became the backbone of the East India Company's economy. Okay, earlier East India Company was not gaining too much of money. Now some of the Indian peoples in the form of clerk, they are working for the Britishers. Okay, then here the clerk are talking to each another. We must educate our brothers and try to improve their material conditions. For what we must convey our grievances to the British Parliament. They were thinking about this. Now some of the clerks were thinking, hey, we know English, we are working for the Britishers, but our brothers are also roaming here and there. We should give them job, we should educate them, we should improve their materials so that their materials can be sold out here in India. So they were thinking like this, okay, by supporting the Britishers. Fine. Then comes here. Here you will see the map of the British. Earlier, the British supremacy, the British power was there in the northeastern part, but now throughout the India there was a British rule, British power. In which era? In 1835 to in 1856. Then comes another picture. They cared little about the needs of Indians. Now some of the leaders of villagers, Sarpanch, chairman of the village, they were conducting a short gathering there in the village and they were speaking to the peoples. What they are speaking? They cared little about the needs of Indians. Our kings have become puppets and we have lost our old jobs. Then what happened? Some of the clerks were speaking with each another. Our kings who are working for us and we are working for the kings, they became the puppets. They become the servants of the Britishers, and now we are searching here and there for the job. Okay, and we don't have a lands also. Land is taken by the Britishers. They are converting our brothers. Some of them speaking yes, some of them speaking that they are taking our brothers and they were keeping them there in their own service. They are making them clerk in their office. Then what is the use of it? You only talk, do something to drive them out. Then now the peoples of our India thinking about to fight with the Britishers. They were planning how to fight with the Britishers, what steps should be taken against the Britishers and what we have to finally. Now these peoples are thinking how to face the Britishers and how to stop their business. So student, here in the dissatisfaction, what we have learned, firstly, the kings were made the servants of the Britishers. The peoples who are working for the kings, they become the clerks in the office of the British people. Okay, and the clerks, they were thinking to give some job to the somewhere in the office of British people. So slowly they taken the land from the farmers and they deployed them there in own office, and they are taking the use of those clerks for the betterment of the British people. And the land is also snatched by the government. Even they are working for the government. Then the whole India is converting slowly to the British supremacy. So student, this is what we have learned from oppression and dissatisfaction. Let's recall it in such a bilingual language. क्या हुआ अंत में? ब्रिटेन ने और गोरे लोगों ने क्या किया? पहले उन्होंने हमारे किसानों की ज़मीन लूटी, किसानों से उनकी ज़मीन छीनने के बाद किसानों को अपने यहाँ पर उनके दफ्तर, उनके ऑफिस में काम पर लगाया, उन्हें क्लर्क का जॉब दिया गया। क्लर्क का जॉब देने के बाद जो बड़े बड़े राजा महाराजा थे वो भी ब्रिटिश के लिए काम करने लगे। यहाँ पर पूरा भारत, पूरा समृद्ध भारत कंगाल के रूप में देखा गया। एक समृद्ध भारत यहाँ पर कंगाले के तट पर आ गया, जहाँ हर एक लोग ब्रिटिश के लिए काम करने लगे, जहाँ पर ब्रिटिश का राज सिर्फ त्रिपुरा, शिलोंग, असम, मेघालय और मिजोरम और नागालैंड तक ही सीमित था, पर बाद में वो पूरे देश में अपना राज बढ़ाने लगा। फिर बढ़ाते बढ़ाते अभी पूरा देश उनके हाथों में आ गया। पर अंत कुछ लोग ऐसे भी थे हमारे भारत में जो ब्रिटिश के लिए काम नहीं करना चाहते थे, जो गोरे लोगों के लिए काम नहीं करना चाहते थे। वो स्वतंत्र होकर उनसे लड़ाई करना चाहते थे। वो हमारे यहाँ क्यों आए? उन्होंने हमसे जमीन क्यों छीनी? उन्होंने हमें उनके यहाँ काम पर क्यों रखा? क्यों वह हमें गुलाम बनाना चाहते हैं? यह कतई ही नहीं होगा। तो उन्होंने यह ठान ली कि हम ब्रिटिश से लड़ेंगे और उनसे हमारी जमीन छीनेंगे। यहाँ पर आने वाले अगले पार्ट और अगले अध्याय में हम क्या पढ़ेंगे, कैसे भारत के लोगों ने ब्रिटिश से लड़ा और कैसे उन्होंने अपनी जमीन छीनी। दिस इज वॉट वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न इन द कमिंग पार्ट. So student, for the time being, watch this whole part from the beginning till last, understand it, make notes in your notebook, okay? And in the coming video, you are going to learn about the part 5 of glimpses of past. So student, for the time being, take care and have a nice day.